Hello students, today we will be talking about the role of counsellor in secondary schools, and the objectives for today's talk will be to understand the concept of counselling, to know about the different elements involved in the process of counselling, and to discuss the role of counsellor in secondary schools. Let us discuss first of all the concept of counselling. Before discussing the role of a counsellor, let us first understand the concept of counselling with the help of some important definitions viewed by several researchers, and we will also look at some important elements of counselling involved in the counselling process. Counselling is the heart of guidance program. It is one among the major services of guidance. It helps students to resolve their educational as well as personal and vocational problems. It makes an effective use of the information collected about the individual or the group to provide insight into the problems for a better guidance program. It may be viewed as an applied art that seeks deliberately to change the behavior of an individual. Let us quote some important definitions of counselling. Counselling is a developing science whose terms and concepts have not yet been standardized. Concepts are interpreted and defined in several ways according to the mental attitude of the researchers. Strang defines counselling as face-to-face relationship in which growth takes place in the counsellor as well as the counselee. Traxler defines counselling as the application of the personal resources of the school or other institutions to the solution of the problems of the individuals. According to Warner, counselling is a personal and dynamic relationship between two individuals, an older, more experienced advisor and a younger, less experienced and less wise. The latter has a problem for which he seeks the help of the former. The two work together so that the problems may be more clearly defined and the counselee may be helped to self-determine solution. Willey and Andrew have given a comprehensive definition on counselling. According to them, counselling is a mental learning process. It involves two individuals, one seeking help and the other a professionally trained person who helps the first to orient and direct himself towards a goal which leads to his maximum development and growth in his environment. E.L. Tolbert, in his book Introduction to Counselling, defined counselling as a personal, face-to-face relationship between two people, in which the counsellor, by means of the relationship and his or her special competencies, provides a learning situation in which the counselee, a normal sort of person, is helped to know himself or herself and his or her present and possible future situations so that he or she can make use of his or her characteristics and potentialities in a way that is both satisfying to him or herself and beneficial to society, and can learn how to solve future problems and meet future needs. We may summarize that counselling is a relationship between a professionally trained, competent counsellor and an individual seeking help in gaining greater self-understanding and improved decision-making. The main objectives of counselling are to enhance personal development, to resolve the conflict, the psychological growth towards majority of its clients, and to help them in the process of social adjustment by developing necessary social skills to meet the challenge of modern life. Elements of counselling. There are three distinct elements in the process of counselling, which are as first, counselling involves two persons. Second, the specific objective of counselling is to help and assist the counselee to solve his or her problems independently. And thirdly, counselling is a professional task and must be performed by a professionally trained person. William Cottle, a famous worker in the field of counselling, has mentioned 5 elements in the process of counselling. Number 1, rapport. The first element is rapport, which involves establishing relationship of mutual respect between the two individuals, the counselor and the counselee. Communication. Communication between the counselor and the counselee should be free and frank without inhibition. Efforts should be made to increase the effectiveness of communication by using different devices such as an in-depth interview. Qualification. The counselor should be a professionally qualified person with some practical experience and liking for people. This will enable him to understand the problems more adequately. Confidence. The fourth element is directly related with the counselee, who starts with confusion and feelings of bewilderment and gradually progresses towards his goal of understanding his problems. In the process, he undergoes a change in his attitudes and acquires insight into his problems. By and by, the counselee gains confidence to tackle his problems and increase his capacity of adjustment to his environment. Counseling interview. The last element is the counseling interview, which is comprehensively planned by the counselor to lead the counselee to the desired goal. The counselor tries to understand the problems of the counselee and attempts to find out some remedy. Qualities of counselor. The Secondary Education Commission 1952-53 points out that a good counselor should possess the qualities as: 1. He must have understanding of young people and their problems based on scientific knowledge, but he should inspire the student with sympathy and ability to look at life through the eyes of boys and girls. He should have special training in good counseling methods, mental hygiene, and indiscriminating use of tests and school records. In the field of vocational guidance, he should have accurate knowledge of occupational opportunities and requirements. He must have sufficient time for conducting conferences with pupils, parents, and he must be fully familiar with the purpose and program of the school and have the capacity to work in close cooperation with the teachers. Let us now talk about the role of a counselor in secondary schools. High school years are full of growth, promises, excitement, frustration, disappointment, and hope. It is the time when students begin to discover what the future holds for them. Secondary school counselors enhance the learning process and promote academic achievement. School counseling programs are essential for students to achieve optimal personal growth, acquire positive social skills and values, set appropriate career goals, and realize full academic potential to become productive, contributing members of the world community. The professional high school counselor holds a master's degree and required state certification in school counseling. Maintaining certification includes ongoing professional development to stay current with educational reform and challenges facing today's students. Professional association membership is encouraged as it enhances the school counselor's knowledge and effectiveness. The role of counseling or the functions carried out by the secondary school counselor are made up of the execution of a number of highly specialized services that constitutes the pattern of activities within the school guidance program. These services are the basic elements of guidance and counseling program. They are the formalized actions or steps the secondary school counselor take to make guidance and counseling operational and available to students. These functions in the secondary school setting include Appraisal Service, Counselling Service, Information Service, Planning, Placement and Follow-up Service, Orientation Service, Consulting Service, Evaluation Service, and Referral Service. Appraisal Service. It has been remarked by the researchers that appraisal is a developmental or longitudinal process of collecting, processing, storing and using a variety of objective and subjective personal and social information to help the school staff have a better understanding of the student as well as help individual student to better know and understand self. Suffice it to say that appraisal service involves collecting, analyzing and using a variety of tools to gather data through which students are made to understand themselves. Through this function, the guidance counselor makes the student to become aware of his or her characteristics, strengths and weaknesses and further develops rational decision-making capabilities. This service enables the counselor to provide relevant data that will enable parents, teachers and administrators understand students. Counselling service. This function enables the counselor who is trained to give assistance to and or to have an interactive relationship with the counselee who needs assistance. Through this service, counselees are helped to deal effectively with self and the reality of his or her environment. The service, regarded as the nucleus of guidance service, helps facilitate self-understanding and self-development which afford individuals or group of people a better understanding of themselves in terms of their confused ideas, hopes, fears, feelings and aspirations. Informative service. Through this service, the guidance counselor is always able to provide the school and the students with the better knowledge of educational, vocational and personal social opportunities in order to have the benefit of making informed decisions and choices. This function involves collection of data in diverse areas of education, career and social life for presentation to students in order to be informed so that they can make decisions with ease in increasingly complex society. Planning service. Planning is to decide ahead of time what an individual wants to do and the way he will do it. Part of guidance counselor's functions includes assisting the students plan their activities. The counselors help students plan their educational, vocational and personal social activities realistically in order to assist them in achieving their goals. Placement service. The counselor carries out placement functions in and outside the school setting. This service helps the individual in obtaining employment. By placement service, we mean providing information about possible jobs available and any training or preparation required for the same. Placement service have 3 stages. Number 1, assessing the abilities, aptitudes and interests for the individual. Analyzing several occupations, particularly the ones in which the student expresses his interest. Relating occupations and abilities of the individual. Follow-up service. It means continuation of the guidance counseling given to a particular individual. Without follow-up service, counseling is incomplete. It enables the authorities to check the worthwhileness of guidance services provided in the school. It is generally done by issuing questionnaires and holding interviews from time to time. The main purpose of follow-up service is to find out the progress and the achievements made by the student in their educational or professional career. Orientation service. This function serves the purpose of acquainting new students in an academic environment with the facilities, challenges and problems and prospects in their new school. It's a guidance service that allows the guidance counselor to make the new students psychologically stable in the new environment because they will be meeting with new set of people, administration, rules and regulations and environment which may require adjustment for them to be able to cope perfectly. Evaluation service. This enables the guidance counselor to assess the effectiveness of his or her counseling in the school system. The evaluation can be carried out through the use of interview, observation or questionnaire. These measurement instruments are used to gather data which will reveal whether or not the services provided are adequate in the school. The gathered information will enable the counselor to improve upon the services he or she is providing or modify or suspend anyone that is not achieving the desired result. Consulting service. Consultation here refers to an interaction between the guidance counselor and the other professionals in the school setting. It is an avenue through which technical assistance is offered to other professionals in the school in order to become more effective in the services they offer to the students and staff. Referral service. This is an act of transferring a client or counselee to another professional or agency where his or her problem can be appropriately handled. The professional or agency may be within or outside the school setting. Scherzer and Stowe 1976 remarked that personnel or agency outside the school setting are used because they provide specialized services, that the guidance counselor cannot claim to have expertise in all spheres of endeavor. He make a referral with the consent of the client or counselee on matters outside his or her competence. The entire function of the guidance counselor in the school setting is to assist each student to understand himself and live effectively in the society. The emerging issues and problems make it obligatory for educational planners and administrators to build an appropriate guidance counseling program for the development of the individual student of higher education into an adult personality, imbued with social and occupational awareness, intellectual and functional proficiency, discipline and confidence. The classroom activities cannot accomplish this task, but it is a job of guidance service which should be organized not only in elementary schools but also at higher level. Counselling service should be introduced at secondary level in order to meet the need of the educational system, total development of the student, proper choice of courses, careers, vocational development, etc. By providing guidance services at secondary level, it can minimize the mismatch between education and employment and help in the efficient use of manpower, motivate the youth for self-employment, help the student in their period of turmoil and confusion. It will help in checking wastage and stagnation, identifying and helping students in need of special help. Tackle the problem of student explosion, help freshers to establish proper identity, fulfill the deficiencies of home, check incidents of indiscipline, qualitatively improve our education system, develop the nation and fulfill the extra instructional needs of pupil. Dear students, we are concluding with that counselling service rendered in school settings enhance students' realization of potentialities for functional living. The services offered by a school counsellor are the formalized actions or steps the school guidance counsellor takes to make guidance and counselling operational and available to students. This was all about the role of a counsellor in secondary schools. Hope you have enjoyed and understood. Goodbye.